Welcome back to our channel, where we dive deep into the glamorous, treacherous, and endlessly captivating world of Los Angeles fashion. Today is a beautiful day to unravel the latest jaw-dropping twists, and we have a monumental story that will forever change the landscape of our favorite families. The corporate warfare between Forrester Creations and the newly resurrected Logan fashion brand has reached an unprecedented, cataclysmic level of hostility. Bill Spencer and Katie Logan Spencer have been basking in the glory of their massive global success, broadcasting their debut collection on billboards across the world. However, this triumph is built on a foundation of stolen genius, utilizing the legendary designs of Eric Forrester to propel the Logan name into the stratosphere. The tension between these two fashion dynasties has never been more palpable, with every move scrutinized and every alliance tested. In the center of this swirling vortex of ambition and betrayal stands Hope Logan Spencer, whose recent defection from Forrester Creations to the Logan brand sent shockwaves through the industry. But as we are about to discover, the narrative of a marginalized designer seeking refuge is nothing more than a brilliantly constructed illusion. Wyatt Spencer, summoned back to Los Angeles by his father, Bill Spencer, arrived with the intention of being the ultimate weapon in this corporate crusade. Wyatt has always possessed a razor-sharp business acumen, a trait he inherited directly from the Spencer patriarch, combined with a pragmatic approach to corporate espionage. Bill brought Wyatt across the country to serve as a top executive, trusting his son implicitly to help navigate the treacherous waters of this hostile expansion. Wyatt was eager to prove his loyalty, ready to stand shoulder to shoulder with Liam and Bill to ensure the absolute dominance of the Logan brand. He believed in the vision, he believed in his family, and most importantly, he believed that Hope's addition to their team was the final, devastating blow that would bring Forrester Creations to its knees. It was supposed to be a quiet, unremarkable evening at the Spencer Publications shared office. The bustling, chaotic energy of the daytime operations had faded into a tense, heavy silence, leaving Wyatt alone with his thoughts and a mountain of strategic planning documents. The ambient light of the Los Angeles skyline cast long, dramatic shadows across the sleek, modern workspace as Wyatt worked late to finalize the aggressive global expansion strategies for the Logan brand. As he moved to gather his files, his eye caught a glint of metallic silver resting carelessly near the edge of a communal desk. It was a small, unassuming USB drive, dropped and forgotten in the frantic pace of the corporate war room. Driven by a mix of professional diligence and innate Spencer curiosity, Wyatt picked up the device, completely unaware that this tiny piece of hardware held the power to detonate his entire world. Upon inserting the flash drive into his laptop, Wyatt expected to find mundane financial spreadsheets, misplaced marketing copy, or perhaps some routine vendor contracts. Instead, what materialized on his glowing screen was a digital catastrophe of unfathomable proportions. Folder after folder contained the absolute lifeblood of the Logan brand. The entire, highly classified business plan, the aggressive global marketing rollout, the confidential financial projections, and most devastatingly, the exclusive, proprietary designs that Katie and Bill had been banking on for their next multi-million-dollar collection were all meticulously organized. But the true horror was not the presence of the files. It was their intended destination. Every single document was packaged, encrypted, and explicitly addressed to the private, secure server of Steffy Forrester Finnegan. The realization hit Wyatt with the devastating force of a physical blow, draining the color from his face and leaving him paralyzed in his office chair. Hope Logan Spencer, the woman who had publicly and tearfully resigned from Forrester Creations, the woman who had claimed she was pushed to the absolute breaking point by Steffy's condescending leadership and tyrannical control over the Hope for the Future line, was not a victim at all. She was a weapon. Hope had not defected to the Logan brand out of resentment, exhaustion, or a desire for creative freedom. She was a Trojan horse, meticulously designed and deployed to infiltrate Bill Spencer's burgeoning empire and dismantle it from the inside out. As the profound implications of this discovery washed over him, Wyatt could not help but marvel at the sheer, terrifying brilliance of Hope's deception. Her performance had been flawless. She had utilized Steffi's genuine arrogance and the very real cancellation of her fashion line to craft the perfect, impenetrable alibi. She had allowed Liam to passionately advocate for her. She had allowed Katie to embrace her, and she had allowed Donna to beg her to stay, all while secretly acting as an embedded operative for the enemy. The sweet, principled Hope Logan, a woman who had built her entire public persona on integrity and moral superiority, was currently executing the most ruthless, cold-blooded act of corporate sabotage in the history of the Los Angeles fashion industry. Wyatt's journey from the Spencer offices to Hope's apartment was a suffocating blur of conflicting emotions, racing thoughts, and agonizing memories. The heavy burden of the USB drive in his pocket felt like a ticking time bomb, a physical manifestation of the destruction he now carried. As he drove through the neon-lit streets, his mind was flooded with the history he shared with Hope. He remembered the days when they were married, the profound love they had shared, and the deep, intrinsic goodness he had always believed resided in her soul. To reconcile the woman he once loved with the calculating saboteur who had orchestrated this betrayal felt like an impossible, mind-bending task. When Wyatt finally breached the threshold of Hope's apartment, the atmosphere instantly thickened with an unbearable, dramatic tension. The serene, warmly lit environment of her home stood in stark, jarring contrast to the explosive, life-altering secret he held in his hand. Wyatt did not waste time with pleasantries or gentle inquiries. With a heavy heart and a trembling hand, he tossed the silver USB drive onto the glass coffee table, the sharp clatter echoing through the quiet room like a gunshot. He stared at her, his eyes silently demanding an explanation, bracing himself for the inevitable tears, the frantic denials, or the desperate pleas for forgiveness that he assumed would follow. But the reaction he received was far more terrifying than any emotional breakdown. Hope did not flinch. She did not cower, nor did her breathing hitch in panic. She glanced down at the flash drive, recognizing her catastrophic mistake, and then slowly raised her eyes to meet Wyatt's gaze. There was no guilt in her expression, no remorse for the deception she had perpetrated against his family. Instead, Wyatt was met with a chilling, terrifying serenity. Hope was completely unfazed, standing tall and resolute, her demeanor radiating a cold, calculated strength that Wyatt had never seen in her before. The innocent, bleeding heart Hope Logan was gone, replaced by a ruthless strategist who was entirely at peace with her dark machinations. With a steady, unwavering voice, Hope stripped away the final remnants of her victim facade and declared her true, unyielding intentions. She openly admitted to the sabotage, confirming Wyatt's worst fears without a single ounce of hesitation. She was doing this, she explained, to safeguard the legacy of Ridge Forrester. She could not stand by and watch Bill Spencer and Katie Logan build an empire on the stolen genius of Eric Forrester. She viewed the Logan brand not as a sanctuary, but as a parasitic entity that was actively destroying the family and the company that had defined her entire life. By acting as a Trojan horse, she was ensuring that Forrester Creations would possess the exact intelligence needed to crush Bill's hostile expansion before it could even truly begin. Furthermore, Hope revealed that her devastating plot was deeply rooted in a fierce, unwavering devotion to her mother. Hope's ultimate goal was not just to protect Forrester, but to manipulate its hierarchy. By handing Steffy Forrester the ultimate victory on a silver platter, by single-handedly delivering the destruction of the rival Logan brand, Hope intended to leverage this monumental, undeniable favor to force Steffy's hand. She was orchestrating this entire corporate war to ensure that Brooke Logan Forrester would be reinstated to her rightful place as co-CEO of Forrester Creations. Hope was willing to burn Bill Spencer's empire to the ground if it meant putting a crown back on her mother's head. Now, Wyatt Spencer stands at the precipice of a cruel, agonizing, and impossible crossroads, the weight of the world pressing down on his shoulders. On one side of this devastating dilemma lies his unwavering loyalty to his father. Bill Spencer brought Wyatt across the country, trusting him implicitly to help build, manage, and protect this new empire. If Wyatt conceals this truth, he becomes complicit in the destruction of his own family's legacy. He knows the wrath of Bill Spencer, and he knows that allowing Hope to succeed would mean the financial and public ruin of the Logan brand, a failure that Bill would never forgive or forget. On the other side of this agonizing spectrum lies the ghost of a profound, lingering affection and the heavy burden of his past. Wyatt and Hope share a deeply complicated, intensely emotional history. Despite the passage of time and the shifting alliances, a part of Wyatt still cares deeply for the woman standing before him. To expose her plot means not only saving his father's company, but effectively destroying Hope's career, her reputation, and potentially her entire life. He would be the one to pull the trigger, the one to brand her a traitor and a corporate spy, forever altering her destiny and cementing her as an enemy of the Spencer family. The internal conflict raging within Wyatt is a tempest of loyalty, love, duty, and betrayal. Can he truly look his father in the eye knowing he allowed a Trojan horse to burn their castle from within? Conversely, can he look at Hope, the woman who once held his heart, and deliberately orchestrate her absolute downfall? Every second that ticks by in that quiet apartment amplifies the suffocating pressure of his choice. The lines between right and wrong, between family and former lovers, have been irrevocably blurred by Hope's shocking transformation into a master manipulator. The dramatic atmosphere in the room is thick enough to cut with a knife, a silent standoff between two people who know that their next words will change the course of history for everyone they love. Hope remains steadfast, challenging Wyatt to make his move, daring him to choose between the empire of his father and the secret of his former wife. The fate of two massive fashion dynasties now rests entirely in the trembling hands of Wyatt Spencer, and whatever choice he makes, the fallout will be nothing short of cataclysmic. The war has moved from the boardroom to the living room, and the casualties are bound to be devastating.